There we go. Hi, everybody. It's Marci from wavesofcommunication.com, and I'm live today with another one of my language facilitation coaching sessions. And today we're going to be talking about play. And I have for you a 5-step process that we're going to be going through that is designed to help you take your child up at least one level in the workbook. So for those of you who are just joining me for the first time, my name is Marci Melzer. I'm an intuitive language facilitation coach. I help parents all over the world connect with the late talkers in your life and do the things that you do every day in a special way as a language facilitator. And just by doing the things that you already do every day in a special way, you can facilitate tons of spoken language. And I have a whole platform called wavesofcommunication.com where I produce resources for parents. I have books that you can see right here. I have coaching programs and I work with clients individually. And if you want to learn more about what I do, all the links are in the description of this video. Now, a lot of parents are working with the workbook and they're stuck at one of the levels, or they see themselves kind of cycling back and forth between these two levels and they don't find the way to get farther. And the whole idea behind this book right here, which is called If It Isn't Fun, It Isn't Fun, is the way to really see progress is not by focusing so much on the speech of the late talker, but focusing on the speech models that you are doing. So here's how I'm going to show you how to do this through play. Now, I chose play because, and what I'm calling play is your child's version of what they love to do to learn, what they will choose to do all the time, what they love, what every time you offer it, they'll say yes. This is what we're looking for here, and this is what we're going to be guiding towards in this process. So this, just to let you all know, is a coaching and Q&A session. So if you have a question, go ahead and post it. And after I'm finished with these 5 steps, I'm going to share with you an answer to a question and potentially answer yours. And there are opportunities for you to participate with this topic as well. So stay tuned. Now, the most important thing that you need to realize as you get into this process is that, remember I talked about there's a way that you're going to be engaging with your late talker. Each one of these steps requires this new way, and they are highlighted here for you. Together with the late talker. These are not things that you do and plan and set up for them. This whole process is a joint effort where you are intentionally motivating this child to want to try hard to improve their speech from wherever they are, if they're a level 1 or they're a level 3 or they're a level 5 or a level 6. These processes are designed to motivate the late talker. So what is required for that motivation shift? Because we're looking at changing habits from this is the way I communicate today when you're watching this video to this is the kind of communication I want to see at the end of 11 weeks, a season. Okay, that's why the workbook is structured this way. If you're working with the workbook, get ready. This is how you're going to get started. Okay, so it has to be together with the late talker because connection is the number one. In the workbook, you're going to see levels of connection with the late talker. You also need to be intensive, which means that every single day you have to have planned activities where you will change how you communicate and provide language models with the late talker surrounding play, right? We're going to talk about how to get there, but remember, this is what's required. It has to be intensive. It has to be repetitive, which means that you're going to do a lot of these things over and over again, just like late talkers do with their obsessions. It has to be evolutionary, okay? And your speech models have to be paired with fun motor experiences. The reason that this is no joke, this is the most important phrase or caveat or bullet point that you want to write down on your notepad about these things. If you're not including all of these aspects, you're not going to trigger the kind of neuroplasticity that will make the rapid change that you are looking for. You have to include all of these aspects. This comes from neuroscience research from Dr. Michael Merzenich and Anat Baniel, who have studied how children do. They've looked at fMRIs of brains, and they have determined that these are the things that equip brains to evolve. And this is what we're trying to do with language facilitation. So it's super important that you understand this process involves every one of these steps that we're going into, all these caveats. Okay, now let's get into step number 1. Okay, step number 1 is to choose a personal growth skill. Remember, we're doing this together with the late talker. And what we're calling this personal growth skill, which is what we'll label them, and I've got examples, okay, is the superpower of choice of the thing, the skill that we are going to focus on developing this summer. This is the summer my child is going to learn to whatever. He's going to develop. He's going to become excellent as he is physically, environmentally, and emotionally possible in this superpower. You've got to choose it. You got to pick one. Now, it might take a little bit of time for you to do that, okay? So how you're going to do it, you explore areas of interest. You know the areas of interest because you just observe the late talker and you see what do they do when they've got free time. While your hands are full, what are they choosing to do? If they're choosing to follow you around, that's great news because then you've got lots of things. You just watch what they stay with you, and do and what they avoid you with. And the things that they stick around that they're curious about. This is all you need to start is, okay, if he's curious, try and error. You have to have introductory experiences. You can't sign him up thinking, I think my child likes to move, so I'm going to sign him up for soccer this summer. That's not going to work. This is a together process. So you have to observe soccer. The child has to decide that this is what I want to do. And when they will not put the ball down to go to bed, when they will not, stop thinking about it, talking about it, bringing it up to you, that's how you know you've hit it. Okay. So I'm going to give you some examples right here. There's tons of them. Swimming, dance, sport of any kind, building engineering, nature exploration. Are you learning what bugs are and what animals are called? Animal training, care and training of your pets. Things like that. Drawing, painting, riding or driving transport of any kind, all the way from roller skates and scooters to driving the car if you've got a teenage late talker. This is the personal growth skill that you're going to be focusing on. Cooking, gardening, sculpture. What does your child do? Are they spinning things? Are they watching things pour? Do they need STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math experiences? Is that their superpower? It might not seem so fun for you, but it doesn't matter because this is you motivating the late talker to do what they love more and more and more and more and more. Because through these experiences is how you're going to teach them to elevate the spoken language that they want and need to do these things. Okay, see where we're going with this? Now, if you are watching this and you already know what your late talker superpower is, comment now in the comment section. And at the end of this, I will give you ideas of how to put that superpower and include it in the following steps. Okay, that's how easy this is. And this is what I guide you to do in the workbook. Okay, so now you're going to learn. Once you make a decision about your opportunity creation formula, you use that to pick what you're going to do. Let's talk about what happens next. Okay, so step 2 in this process is you need to make an investment. Once you decide we're going to learn swimming or skiing or whatever you decide, horseback riding is going to be your thing for the summer. Together again with the late talker, you are going to invest in the best possible physical, environmental, and mindset situation that you can create with whatever you got available. Okay, if you don't have money, you make these things. You find them at the secondhand store, the sports equipment they need, but you get the best possible one. If there's a choice between the one that is used secondhand and the one that is your child's favorite color and brand new, and there's a difference in cost of, a minimal amount, that you could take the money from something else to put in this, get the better one. I don't even care if this is the only season your late talker does this thing and you're spending a lot of money on it. When you, together with the late talker, show them that you are just as invested in this superpower through your support of time, energy, teachers, all of this, they will work harder. But when they get the worst possible equipment and then they go on the soccer team because you can't afford it or whatever, you decided you wanted to take a vacation this year and you're going to use that vacation money, the extra whatever tour you were going to go on, the extra amusement park visit you were going to do, the extra fun thing you were going to do, take that money and put it into the superpower. I promise you, money better spent, time better spent, energy better spent. The late talker is going to appreciate your time spending with them at home working on their superpower a lot more than a vacation this year, especially if they've got the best possible equipment that you can access. Okay? I'm not saying you got to get the best possible on the market. I'm just saying your best possible. And while you are comparing your best possible to even less best options, the one that is your child's favorite color versus just the color you give them randomly, that's how easy this can be. How simple the priority of the late talker's choices in these equipments and environments. And teachers, don't sign them up for a teacher unless the child meets the teacher and say, would you like to work with this guy? Would you like to be this guy to be your coach? Would you like this lady to teach you how to dance? Would you want to sign up for this class? Don't sign kids up for stuff because you think they might like it. Know before you go. And then when you go all in. All in. It's really important, okay? Because you are encouraging a late talker to push past comfort zones. And we need motivation, the best possible stuff. Okay? Step 3, create a schedule that highlights superpower training as a standard part of every single day. Include opportunities and support for independent exploration and skill practice for evolution. Okay, so not only do you have the classes or the training times or whatever you set aside in your opportunities to focus on this skill, you also offer opportunity for them to practice. So if they're riding a bike, you can't keep the bike locked up. It has to be accessible at least multiple times every day, not just once a day after dinner. That's not a superpower. That's a fun summer idea. Superpowers have unlimited access, because if kids get obsessed about learning to talk and they spend their every waking hour thinking about, talking about, and sharing their experiences through their superpower, they will evolve. But if you limit their time and effort and interaction even with the superpower at all, I promise you they'll choose to give it up when they've had too much. But how much is too much when you're looking for rapid evolution? This is like boot camp that I chose to go to, summer camp that I chose to go to, winter break time, if you're in Australia, while we're locked in at home, to figure out how to connect more and love each other and snuggle more, right? And play in the snow and deal with the weather changes and all the stuff that's happening everywhere you are. This is what we're doing this summer. Is we're having a summer of evolution in a way that the late talker is driving, and you're there guiding and coaching them, facilitating this improvement, right? And you're prioritizing, again, if you've got a messy house and it's, you've got a choice, I didn't get my superpower training in, or I've got to clean up the house. Maybe the house stays messy another day, and you've got to be okay with that. Because think about an Olympic athlete. They're working on their superpower. Do they have to cook their own meals? Do they have to do their own laundry? No. People give them the space and time where they don't have to do a lot of extra chores so that they can focus their energy on the evolution of this personal skill. And all the while you are talking about what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and you're incorporating it into the other things you're doing. If your late talker loves, we'll talk about that. If you comment about if your late talker loves dance, are you dancing while you clean? Are you dancing while you dress? Are you dancing while you're in the car? Are you dancing while you wait in line? Are you offering opportunity for your late talker to forget and solve their problems, forget about and or solve their problems, because they're too busy focusing on developing their superpowers and striving for excellence and independence? This is what you want. This is the mindset of a child that you send back after your summer break or winter break from school back to the next semester with brand new skills that the teachers are like, I don't know what you've been doing, but you better keep doing it. And you teach your child how to learn through these experiences, not just from you, but because remember, you're including this in there every day. If they're somewhere else, make sure that wherever they go, they have access to their superpower abilities so they can start to do what's next. Number 4. Offer regular opportunities for the late talker to showcase their superpower. Not just, oh, here he is doing his thing again, but with your full attention to their specific skills, the why and the how, and the evolution, the comparing, not just them to other kids, but them to themselves, because this is how we move up in elevation. You help them learn to compare this week to last week. Are you taking videos to show your child how they themselves are their own example of motivation to strive for excellence? And are you evolving your vocabulary while you do these critiques in a way that's empowering? Because you've already equipped them with the best possible environment and equipment that you can do, and you're offering them opportunities to practice over and over. This is the empowerment part, where you get them to show what they're doing. And then, of course, you give all the cheerleading you want. But this idea of self-evaluation, why they are showcasing their stuff, that's why a lot of these academic things, even sports, they have team competitions. How do we see which team is evolving in their skill, as ability to win and work together as a team and learn their skills? They play games. That's the test, right? In the case of a late talker, the opportunity for them to demonstrate their superpower they'll show you. If you are modeling spoken language in addition to the physical thing they're doing, the dance, the cooking, the pouring, the measuring, the math, the art, the whatever you're modeling for them, or if you can't do it, remember, if you don't play football and your child loves football, you better find a football coach for them, because they're going to be frustrated, or they're going to be coming to you to be the one to teach them that stuff. And if you don't know how, you got to own that and hook them up with a better source than you. And they're going to appreciate that, because they know they have choices. Oh, mommy doesn't know everything, and I can go learn from this uncle or that coach or that auntie or grandma or daddy or somebody else. And then when those people interact and coach your late talker, they're going to do it in a different way. They're going to prompt them. They're going to force them. Think about how some of the coaches in the world are. They're not very nice. They are tough love, all that stuff. Late talkers will tolerate that from other coaches, but they won't necessarily tolerate it from parents. There's their mom or dad factor where you're the one that solves their problems. And if these guys are pushing them out of their comfort zone, which is what they need to strive for excellence, who's going to motivate them to do that? That tough love might be what your late talker needs if you work with them to find the right guy. If a guy is using tough love as a coach and your late talker is recoiling from that kind of loud, boisterous, come on guys, let's go, and your late talker's hiding in the corner, if you sign them up for that, you're going to create trauma, which is going to delay your progress and send you backwards. That's why this process is so important. It's going to either make or break your future. You can either facilitate a ton of new functional spoken language, because once your kiddo learns how to talk about their favorite stuff, they learn to talk about the other stuff too. They've got problems as they're evolving through their evolution. I can't do it as well as I want to do it yet. I've got to work hard at this. I'm putting in effort. I'm struggling. I'm rising to the challenge. I'm make it or break it-ing. You know what I mean? This is what it takes for the kind of evolution you're looking for if you're watching this video. You want real change, you've got to facilitate it. And so you offer opportunities to have these showcase with criteria, okay? And see, so what you do next is number 5. Introduce the idea of excellence, right? So that's how you're going to help them evolve. Once they showcase it, you're like, wow, you're better than you were before. Because, why, and how? When you give them not the critiques of what they aren't doing well enough yet, but how well they are doing compared to their own performance last week, or yesterday even, depending on how excited they are about this. I mean, you could be doing swim classes this summer, and in one lesson, 20-minute lesson with their teacher, they learn a new stroke or a new skill or a new whatever, and they practice it and they learn it and they can do it in that 20 minutes, because it's not very hard to learn how to swim, especially if you got support and you're motivated about it. And then it's going to take you that whole week to integrate that skill, right? And it's up to you to take your kid back to the next swim lesson, if it's in a week or 2 days or whatever, having learned and integrated the skill so that your child is prepared to go and learn the next one on top of it, and the next one on top of it, and the next one on top of it. And they're going to be frustrated if other kids in the class don't keep up, just like the teacher is. You have to do your part and encourage that excellence. If the cheerleader that your child likes in this teacher is loud and boisterous, you got to bring some of that home. If the teacher is kind and gentle and offering lots of opportunities and very repetitive for your child who has slow processing, super slow, super repetitive, maybe the teacher or the coach isn't as slow as you are, and you've got to really help the late talker figure out what happened. I didn't catch it all. You've got to help them keep up with the other kids potentially. This is how you're going to know that you're striving for excellence, because again, it's not compared to the other kids. That happens anyway. Your child themselves, as soon as you put them around other kids, they don't need anybody to tell them they're not as good or they're better. They decide those things for themselves way before anybody says it. In fact, a lot of kids who are bullied are surprised by other kids who put them down, because they in their head think they're perfectly fine, until someone points out their inadequacies or their differences from other people. They don't care. And a child who's focused on their superpower and just getting better at their superpower, if it's math or physics or dance or song or whatever, playing instruments, this is it. That's where you're helping them focus on them. Who cares about haters? I'm excellent at this. And when they see their own personal success, that's how they can internally in their energy, combat anybody who comes at them and says they're less than. Yeah, I'm less than you, but you're not nearly as smart as me. Maybe I can't climb as good as you, or boss other kids around like you, or make little kids cry like you. But kids come to me because they're watching me construct things that are like they've never seen before, or memorize things they've never seen before, or come up with ideas on how to play with things that are unique and different and not the same way the other kids are playing. You know what I mean? Your child has superpowers. And I hope if you are watching again, you'll share what is your child's superpower, because I can help you. I can help you find out how to get started. So here's a quote. It's something from Monica. Hey, I believe this is what you requested. Charlie loves things that spin. Okay, so great. We know a focus. Again, what you'll see, because those little obsessions, this is where the kids will be attracted. Fans, helicopters, things like marbles that roll, or sand or rocks flowing over something, swimming, jumping on a trampoline, music, singing and dancing, pouring, splashing, throwing stones in water, cars, Lightning McQueen, Lego, only follows instructions, letters, and numbers. Okay, so one of the things that I see about all of these things that are kind of similar to me, because remember, we've got a child who isn't focused here. This is a mom who's like, my child loves a lot of stuff. But again, he's constantly looking for things that are predictable patterns, right? I know what's going to happen. It's always going around, 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 around. We spin me right round, baby, right? You know what I mean? That's what happens. That's why people like pop music. I just heard that on NPR on the radio today. One of the reasons that pop music is an addictive thing, it gets in our head, is because it's predictable and that's comfortable to us. When we put a ball at the top of a ramp and watch it roll, we know what's going to happen. And if your kid does that and is flapping and gets excited when that happens, or they're playing that bit on the thing and they flap and get excited when it happens, and do it again and get excited and do it again and get excited, right? They have triggered that thing to happen. I'm going to watch it roll. It's going to roll. I was right. I predicted it. It happened just like I said, because that, to a child who has a chaotic life, is like, yeah, I'm learning. I know physics. I know how that gravity works. I know that the ramp has to be on a slant in order for the ball to roll. Like, these are the things that your child knows. And so what I would do is, like you said, if he only follows instructions with Legos, he doesn't want to play independently. It's because he is very obsessed with the finished product. I want to see what I expect. Okay. And this is how late talkers have control. They develop control. So what I would do for a child who loves things that are constantly constant, right, in a life that's full of change, is I would set goals. So if it is building, because you said Legos, he likes Legos, but he likes following these instructions, then we have to carry over this idea of a finished product to other areas of his life, because what gets him excited is, I did it, I made it, it's done. Hopefully we did it together, and that's what you're going to start to motivate. So parallel play next to him while he's doing these things, but again, offering opportunities like cooking food that he eats or that he serves to someone else even. Like, oh boy, we're cooking this, baking a cake for someone's birthday and we can't eat the cake. You're teaching him all about how his effort and that delayed satisfaction even of what he's building, because that's level those steps 4 and 5, to showcase what he does, because kids who just do things to do them don't have enough motivation for excellence. They're just doing it to stay in their comfort zone. I like numbers. I like predictability. I like watching the same thing over and over again. How are you going to evolve that? It has to be a creative object that your child can get excited about. So if your child likes food, it seems to be movement related. So if there is a goal to are we going someplace to do things, potentially it is using public transport. Could be his superpower. I want to make things happen, or cooking, or creating, like I said, these Lego projects, but for a purpose, instead of just to build it and then wreck it and then build it and wreck it, build functional things, right? And maybe not even using Lego, but using, like, I think about life hack things, like let's make a tent out of chairs and tables and things like that, because it's functional, it's purposeful, and you can use it. So this is how you get better and better and better, because you're going to have to trial and error some of these things to find what he loves all the time. And then alternatively, if there are skills that he's not as good at, but would help him be more independent in his exploration. So if he knows how he loves things that spin, how is he creating spin? Is he riding a bike and, watching, I mean, he's not going to be watching the wheels spin, but you know what I mean? How can he create this for himself? What will motivate him to use a spinning thing, to use a spinning activity? And if he, like I said, he's motivated about wheels and things that move, why? The functional thing about them. I know that what you do for work is a super functional job. It's like rescue stuff where you're helping people solve problems. This whole reason of why things happen. Why do we need to wear warm clothes in winter? Why can we take them off in summer? It's the functional things that help your child be more independent. And if they're just, again, it's the moving, all of that. That's where it has to involve movement. And then it can be structured movement. What are you building with this movement? And it has to be something that he cares about. So you're going to have to experiment. Does he care about, martial arts and breaking a board? Does he care about knitting? Will he sit and make a string of knitting? Who knows what they'll make? But it's something tangible. And the kids that move, they don't always see a lot of value in the tangible things. This is why you have to motivate that. So they're just doing it to do it, to have the activity of following directions and moving, then maybe calisthenics or running, distance running. I know another dad who I follow, and he follows me. His son is 19 or 20 and he's a marathon runner. And they've been running road races. He runs with a coach, he runs with a running buddy, and he is excellent. He strove for excellence to be a marathon runner. And this is possible. You can put your kid in a training program this summer and run and do calisthenics and build workout. Like I said, bodybuilding is a superpower. Okay. So let's see. We're now on this path after being lost. We pulled a card this week and it was, I want to be just like you. We use this to talk about what's amazing about being us. We have all 4 books now. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you're using them. And when, in the cards she's talking about are the language facilitation inspiration cards, everybody. I'll put this back up so everybody can see. When parents get stuck, this is one of those other resources. I still have a few decks left. In the move, I haven't ordered the new ones yet, but I still have a few. If you are interested to order, the link is on the website. And so these are the cards, the language facilitation inspiration cards. And what she's talking about is they pull them out because the messages on the front are messages from late talkers. I'm smart. And then the messages on the back are guidance when you feel like that message is resonating with you. And so the idea of, I want to be just like you, that guidance is demonstration. What's so great about being you? What does the late talker think is so great about being you? Why do they want to be like you? And highlight that, because the reality is most late talkers do want to be like you. And most parents don't give as much example. You're too busy chasing the late talker and what's he going to do next? What's he going to do next? How do I evolve that? How do I take that and turn it into something else? Or you're analyzing, stuck in this, analysis paralysis. That's what happens when you feel stuck. It's like, am I doing it right? Is he doing it right? What am I doing right? Am I doing it right? This is where you have to rely on your own data. Take videos of yourself and you will see that it's not so much that you're stuck, but that there's just a change, because probably the late talker learned what you were doing, but you didn't evolve it. You just stayed with the same things, hoping that if I keep doing it more, he'll suddenly show me that he knows it. But remember, the late talkers don't show you what they know unless you are facilitating at the level above them. If you're facilitating at the level they are, you're just helping keep them in the comfort zone. Oh, I understand your nonverbal behavior. I'll tell you what you're doing. I understand what you want behind your nonverbal behavior. I'll explain what you're doing nonverbally. And the late talkers, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. That's level 3 all day long. And then they move into level 4 because you are giving them more than prompts. That's how everybody gets to level 4. You stop prompting speech out and you start giving them more. Now, when your child's at level 4, have you evolved? How have you evolved? Most of the time, it's people get stuck in the what and not the why and the how and the projection towards the finished project. They're so busy hand over handing their kid through each activity that they're not facilitating the independence and or excellence for the child to move up in their evolutionary pattern. You're keeping your kid stuck when you just are doing what they do. When you start imitating them, then you're keeping them stuck. Okay, they're like, all right, I guess I'm doing it right because you're not giving me any more. I guess you want to continue to guess what I'm doing because you're so good at it. You have to let the late talkers know that you're not. You can't read their mind, especially when they get older than 2.5 as young. Especially depends on their experiences. Okay, so let's pull a card out of that. Look, slow down. Slow down. This is the thing. When you slow down your speech, your schedule, your activities, your time, you just offer more time for things, progress happens faster. I know you might want to think that you have to do more to get more, but that's not how language facilitation works. You talk more and connect more and be in the moment together, just offering the model of excellence. And the late talkers will rise up to you if you motivate them. That's what this is all about. That's why we use play and not sticks. You can motivate with sticks and carrots, the easy way or the hard way. Every late talker, if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. They're going to choose the easy way. So talk more slowly. Just start there. If you don't know what else to do, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and everybody else out there, just talk more slowly 4 times a day while your late talker's doing what they love. Start there. And then you're going to see how they respond. And then pay attention not so much to them, but to you. What did you do to get them to respond? Do more of that. That's all. It's easier than you think, guys. Late talkers need to hear slow, clear language models so they can easily process, because you're developing with those things I talked about in that first comment. You're developing neuroplasticity. You're developing the child's language brain, right? So they can easily process and learn how to produce accurate speech and accurate grammar using the right words, the right way, at the right time. They can only get it if you talk slowly. Choose a 2 to 3 minute action. That's all you need is 2 to 3 minutes at a time to do this. And you can do it 100 times a day if you do it 2 to 3 minutes. Just talk 3 times more slowly. If your late talker is irritated by your slow speech, they'll let you know. But I promise you, it's just like with your language models. I tell every parent, talk to your kid like they are a 12-year-old. If it's too complex for them, they'll let you know. But if you talk to your child like they're a 2-year-old, and maybe they are 2-year-old, but they're a super smart Einstein syndrome 2-year-old who's thinking like a 9-year-old. The only way you're going to provide them with enough is talking to them like a 12-year-old or a college graduate even. Talk to them like an adult, because that's the language that you are facilitating. Anytime you imitate their experiments with talking, you're not helping them. They need to see more to develop more. They need to see more to develop more. That's all. Okay. Lori says, thank you for all you do. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it, because it's nice to know that I'm not just talking to the wall, and I appreciate you guys are doing this. Working with the workbook and your videos, my almost 3-year-old is starting to use language functionally more and more. Woohoo, Lori, congratulations. Language facilitation works. It does. It does. So he seems more intentional in his utterances, his pronunciation, by repeating more and combining his pulling with verbs and nouns, related to what he wants, right? We're understanding more and more. So you are actively facilitating level 4 speech when your child's probably at a 2 to 3. right? And so eventually you'll start to hear, like you said, he's practicing in his pronunciation. He's popping out words. It's real intentional, and you can tell the difference because it's related. It's not right. It's not perfect. Of course, it's their first try. No child is perfect the first time out. But what's super interesting, especially about older late talkers, is that they've been keeping phrases like, leave me alone. I don't want it that way. Do it another way. Maybe I can try. It's my turn. They've been holding on to these phrases, these Gestalt phrases that they know work for them. And it is some level of fear or anxiety that keeps it in. But when they're motivated and excited or angry and upset, those things fly out and parents go, what? How did you know all that? They've been listening, guys. They've been listening. And when you're intentional, this is how you see this. He seems more intentional in his utterances. Where did he learn that, Lori? From you. Because you're not just talking random stuff. You're more intentional with your utterances. So is your late talker. Because they want to be like you. They want to talk like you. They want to walk like you. They want to dress like you. They want to sleep like you. They want to eat like you. Unless what you're doing is somehow creating fear in them, or you feel like it's somehow they're detached from it. Otherwise, this is what you do together, everything together. And he's combining, right? He's evolving. He's not going to give up the behaviors. He's going to use those as long as he needs them. And then when he doesn't need them anymore because he's confident with his speech, because he learned so much from his mom, boom, he doesn't use those behaviors anymore. And then when he's triggered and upset, he might forget all those words and go back to those behaviors all the time. But that's how you know that's what is blocking any potential in the future, or what blocked it in the past. When I keep them happy, when I give them what they want, when I keep life fun, they do it. They do. Okay. So I see it. Thanks. Thanks for watching, everybody. And, you know, all I can say is this is the thing. This is the juice. This is the way that you get your late talker talking. Now, somebody did post a question, and I want to share this really quick because this is a common one that I get. And so want to find it. I've got it in all my other things. Ooh, here it is. So this is a mom of a late talker who has just been scheduled for ear tube surgery and hasn't had the surgery yet. They got the workbook. And what I do with these folks is advise you. They're like, should I wait? The answer is never, never, never wait, because especially these kids with the ear fluid, they have already missed so much spoken language between the hearing loss, the distraction from the pain and pressure, and their seeking sensory needs to eliminate their physical symptoms. You know, I got to run, I got to get out of here, I got to chew this, I got to do whatever, that they weren't listening. Even if they could hear, if they were distracted by those things, they were not even listening to the language models they've had until now. You cannot plan on how much they were listening, even if they were hearing. A lot of people just blame it on, we don't know how much fluid they had. It doesn't matter how much fluid they had. The fluid could be coming and going, but they're in the habit of using their eyes and not their ears as communication, both receptively and expressively. They want you to use their eyes. That's why they use so much behavior. Okay. Now, to stop that from happening, to stop that cycle of continued evolution of visual physical communication, which is what the late talker has been doing as soon as they realized their ears weren't working for them. They started to develop their own nonverbal physical visual language that you can understand. And they started training you from day one to understand what that is. Now, this family did the right thing. They started working on his speech by talking to him about what they're doing, and they cut their background noise to maximize the possibility of his hearing while they're waiting for the tubes, because we don't know how much fluid. It literally can change hour to hour, not necessarily day to day. If there's more inflammation, if they're treating it with other things, you got the Flonase going. Right after the Flonase, you feel real good. 5 hours later, you could be clogged up again because of allergies, right? That's how this goes. And in the process, again, we use the process of the healing as the language, the first language facilitation intervention. The superpower, your superpower, is you know how to help this late talker learn how to talk, and you know what they've missed. They don't even know what they've missed as far as language. So it's super, super important that you start now, right away, with your language facilitation. If the late talker can't hear you, you'll know, because they won't be looking at you. They won't be listening. You got to talk louder. You got to get in their face. You got to use that visual, because remember, they've trained you already. They trained you how to understand their wants and needs. So that's what the workbook does. Remember, the whole process, this journey to speech, is about encouraging, motivating, coaching, facilitating the late talker's choice to give up the gestures, behaviors, dragging you around, noises, echolalia, all the stuff that they're using right now at whatever level you are right now. They are choosing to give it up when you show them better options to communicate. That's it. That's it. And so be functional, be playful, be attractive, be connected, and be evolutionary. You cannot be stagnant this summer. If you are using this workbook week after week after week, you should be evolving, even in a week. Because remember, like I said, you take them to the swim class, in 20 minutes, they can learn a new skill. And in 1 week, they can get it. These kids' brains are at peak learning performance. At 56, I wish I could learn this fast. You can maximize this brain plasticity using this process to get your kids superpower skills, which will equip and empower them this summer. You teach them to swim, just swim. By the time they go to school, they're going to be able to learn how to do math. They're going to be able to write. When last year it was a struggle, this year they did it because they know how to achieve excellence and independence. And this is how it goes, okay? So here we go. Thank you, Marci. I challenged myself to stop prompting, and I see more initiation. So now it's time to create opportunities to expand. Thank you so much, Nairuz. I'm so glad you're watching. It's going to be an amazing season, whether it's winter season or summer season. Astrologically, the sun is moving in. The weather is here. It's hot or it's cold, and it's changing, and everybody's feeling it. Here's a way, you guys, to settle into the season with laser focus on one superpower skill and play your way to more speech in one season this summer. And I can't wait to see we're talking about mid-August here, okay? In mid-August, we're going to be revisiting this to see how many of you took on this challenge to get your kids talking this summer. And I imagine everybody who does will be able to see those kids bump up from level 4 to level 5 or level 3 to level 4. You can do it. You can do it if you're consistent and you follow this process. And I know you can do it because even the parents who commented on this video, they're already doing it. And this is how you double down and make it skyrocket your success, okay? All right, one more time before I go, I just want to show you the most important slide for anybody who's watching. Each step in the process of whatever you do, whatever you teach your child, the way you get their brain to learn it fast is these things. Together, in cooperation with someone who's giving them tons of models that they trust, that they love, that they want to connect with, connected together. Intensive, frequent, multiple times every day, not just once a week, not just once a day, 4 times a day minimum. Superpower training towards speech, okay? Repetitive. Did you do it? Are we going? How are we doing it again? The only way you get excellent at something is if you practice, okay? And it has to be evolutionary, the way you're talking about it, introducing vocabulary that is above where they are now. Sentence structure above where they are now. They need something to strive for. If you're teaching them to be a football goalie, you take them to professional games so they can see what professional goalies look like, what they do, how they celebrate, how they keep their composure, how they focus, because that's what excellence requires, all that stuff. All that stuff. And in the process of getting your child from a non-swimmer to, never want to get out of the pool kid, a kid who was afraid of water, you know what I mean? But they need to swim and they love the water, but they're afraid of it. You can coach them through, that's a level 1 kid. You can get them all the way up to level 4 with swimming. And at the same time, now their confidence is high enough that they will learn to talk about other things. And they will take this skill to other people. That's how they share their wisdom with the world. Okay? All right, everybody, time to get going. Do your work. I'll see you all next week, of course, with more coaching videos. If you're watching on the replay or live like this video, that always helps my algorithm. Share the idea of language facilitation with other late talking families in your life. 1 in 8 kids across the world is late talking. If you know a child who's late talking, one of your friends does too. If they are struggling, guide them to these resources because they're helping parents all over the world. And that's my mission, is to help as many parents all over the world. I've got everything from free resources all the way up to I'll hold your hand through the whole process, but it's all up to you. I teach you how to get the work done because I know it's not about me at all. It never was. It's all about you and your connection with the late talker. And that's how you see the progress you want. Okay. Not just what other people write in books and on reports, the progress you want to see. And you get there in time. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.